First world videos, yes, big warning, especially if you've got property in Spain or buying property in Spain, because this new law that's getting updated is going to affect over 20 million houses here in Spain alone. Buying property in Spain right now, make sure you watch this video because it's really important. If you're out looking for property right now and thinking of buying in Spain, or you already own a property, whether it's a holiday home or you're a Spanish resident, make sure you watch this video because I'm going to exactly tell you what you actually need to do to your property and how much it's actually going to cost. What is it that it's going to cost you loads of money? Well, it all depends on the ratings of the house, and it goes all the way, as you know, from A all the way down to G. And a lot of the houses, unless it's a brand new build, actually fall right in the bottom category, and that is where the problem is. Some good news, so I'm going to tell you right at the end of the video what you can do and how much it's going to cost to actually get it put right, because if you don't hurry up and get on the bandwagon now, it's going to cost you more money in the long run and you won't be able to sell your property. What does this actually mean for everyone that's got a property here in Spain, and what do you need to do? Well, for starters, we're going to go through everything step by step, what you need to know. It doesn't matter whether you buy an apartment, bungalow or an house. Basically, these rules affect 20 million houses here in Spain, and come 2030, you won't be able to sell them. You won't even be able to let people get a mortgage or any kind of finance on them. You're going to be stuck with an house. So yeah, you're definitely got to make sure you do this now before it's too late and it gets too expensive. Of course, this is all to do with the Spanish energy law. And when is it soon become mandatory? Well, it's all going to start very soon. We're talking about 2030, which is literally just round the corner, 5 years. The energy efficiency certificate, it first came in Spain in 2013, but now it's updated and it's D, we're talking about category D on the energy certificate that's going to be actually coming up very soon. It's the 1st of June 2013, every commercial premises and Spanish homes had to have this kind of certificate. The reason why you're going to need this certificate with this new category D that's coming in, and it's only 3 years later in 2033, which the category E comes in. So you need to do all these kind of things your own, which you're going to go through so you get to know how much it's going to cost and what are the steps to do it before your property comes worthless. The reason why you're going to need this energy certificate is because you won't be able to sell your property to start with, and you won't be able to rent it, and no one will be able to get any mortgage or finance on it. So the law states that anyone that rents or buys a place, they must have this certificate if the person asks for a copy of it, and it's got to be signed as well. The certificate is only lasted for 10 years, by the way. There are some exceptions why you wouldn't need this certificate, and there are people that have buildings that are less than 50 square metres, isolated properties as well, so they will be exempt from having to have this energy certificate. Religious buildings as well won't need to bother with it, and also protected buildings, but everyone else that's got an house, apartment, bungalow, no matter what, here in Spain, you're going to have big problems if we don't start sorting out the grade ratings on your property. And I know my property is well over 20 years old, and it definitely falls into one of these categories, and it's going to be coming up very soon. 2030 is only around the corner. Quite scary, isn't it, really? I mean, you ain't going to be able to sell, buy or rent an house just after 2030 on a lot of these properties. And they're talking about properties are built really in the 80s, 90s, and just coming up to the 2000s. They're going to fall into this category of, as a government doing all this kind of business, why they bring in all these strict energy certificates right in there and cramping down? Well, it's all to do with electric we're using and electric we're losing. Electric coming in the house and the carbon dioxide that we're losing through the house. Obviously we've got bad windows and drafts, doors and chimneys are not blocked up. So yeah, you're losing a lot of energy, and of course you're using a lot of electric. So for these 2030, of course if you're buying a brand new house, you won't have any problems because most of them cover all the energy saving, the insulation and the double glazed windows and solar and things like that. We ain't going to lose a lot of draft through the doors. But the ones that come at the top of the A list, of course, are the ones with the solar powers and well-insulated walls and floors. and of course the solar heating and all the heat pumps and everything, that is top of the plops. That will be your A rating. Most houses that are falling, which are just over 2,000, built around you start getting the B and the C ratings, and these are like your modern villas that'll have good windows, good doors, you know, no draft leaking out, and you'll have some insulation on the walls and floors and things like that, and they might even have some solar power. But you've got the D rating, of course. That is houses that were built a lot later, and them sort of houses are gonna need a lot of improvement. And we're talking about having double glazed windows fitted, because a lot of these houses were built with single glaze and a lot of draft going out, and the doors are wooden, and of course your windows might even be wooden windows as well. So yeah, drafts galore all over the place, and some of them have like these chimneys in there, like they're log fires, and they're losing a lot of draft up the old pipe and things like that. So yeah, a lot of houses will come into this category. Houses that are built just after 2000, of course, you might not have to spend too much on the improvements, which we'll go through the cost and how you go about it, and what the cost is to get a surveyor in, and to get it up to the right rating. That's before the deadline. It's going to be a few new, recent, updated, good energy efficient aircon units, and of course a lot of them might just have single glazed windows, so you might just have to do a bit of glazing and block up the through doors, and you know, drafts everywhere that's leaking out the windows. So yeah, it might not cost you too much, probably about 4 or 5 grand to just get it all up top notch if you want to go to full Monty. Of course, we're going to talk about what you can do before you start panicking, and how you go about it, so you know exactly what you need to spend. Houses are going to have the real problems are really the really old Spanish houses, and you're talking about 60s and the 70s, you know, back in the 80s, even 90s, all that kind of era. They're the houses that are built, and they won't have any of this kind of insulation, and of course the oil fires and heatings and everything. So they will need quite a lot of money spent to bring them up to where you want to be. Like I say, you won't be able to sell your property, you won't be able to rent it, unless you intended to keep the house forever. So for most people that have bought within the last 20 years, you might have too much problem really. You might say a few quid on a new boiler and aircon units, and doing something with your windows. It's all to clamp down on the CO2 emissions, you know, letting it leak from the house. And a lot of people now are rushing out and buying the old solar powers, because what happened the other day with the old grid going down here and putting us on blackout. Incidentally, if you want to watch the video, I've got a few videos up there. But yeah, absolutely nightmare. So everyone's rushing out to get solar power now. It ain't a bad idea. Not only will you be up to date with the new energy efficiency and save loads of money, but you can actually make money, because some of the power goes back to the national grid. What is it going to cost you really to get your house realistically up to pass this energy rating certificate? Well, like I say, if it's an old Spanish house back to 60s, 70s and 80s, even in the 90s, you could be talking tens of thousands, you know, at least 10 grand to get it up and running to pass the certificate rating. It ain't all bad news, because we have actually got some good news for you. Property is going to cost to get it up to this new rating. So yeah, it's going to cost you 80% renovation if you've got one of these old houses. If you've got a house just after 2000 onwards, you probably won't have to spend too much. The rent average costs about 5 grand. Some good news for you, because it doesn't matter whether you live in Spain or you're renting or buying, 80% of these renovations you're going to get funding for by the government. Yeah, the government and the EU, regional governments, central governments, and the town halls even said you can get some kind of discount on the property taxes. So yeah, you can get most of the money back. About energy, this is new. This has just come up here, solar power, and a nice new bench here. You can sit down and you can actually plug in your phone and charge your phone up here. How about that, eh? And that is cheap as chips. Yeah, just one of many things they're doing all around Spain. We've got all these new water pumps, fresh water you can have for free. So yeah, Torrevieja, they're splashing out. They're going to town. So yeah, we'll get back onto this. So listen, everyone's going to be in one of these categories unless you've got loads of money and you bought a brand new house that fits most of these regulations. and it's only around the corner. What you can do is you can get a surveyor in, and this is a specialist surveyor, and I'll tell you what the cost is going to be. It's not going to be drastic, but it'll tell you exactly what you're going to need to get your house up to scratch, to get one of the right energy grades you need to get it required for the government law coming in. This is a proper certified energy assessor, surveyor basically, and he'll come to your house, a proper architect, and he'll do a check, and it'll take him about half hour, 40 minutes to go over everything in your property. Take a load of notes and everything, and it'll take up to 5 days to get it all complete and finished. And he'll go through everything from your windows, double glazing, and how tight they are, and what kind of draft you've got, your heating system, your ventilations, and all your electrical appliances. They'll go through everything basically. They'll do a full report on that, and the cost is not a lot really if you've got a little place. If you've got a little bungalow or apartment, a little flat, you're talking about 130 euros, and it'll all be registered as well in that price. Of course, if you've got a bigger property, it's going to involve a lot more work, and it could go up to over 250 euros to do a proper survey, but then it'll all be legal and you'll be certified with the local government. You've got 5 years to sort it out. Of course, the nearer the time you sort it out, as you know, materials are going up all the time. And of course, once the demands gets in now, nearer the time, it's going to shoot right up. So you need to get on it now. You need to get one of these efficiency surveyors that are specialised, come around and do a full report, find out what is actually needed to get your house up to the new grade. Because 5 years ain't far away. It's here quicker than you think. And of course, the nearer the time, and it comes past that time, then you're going to have a lot of problems because you won't be able to sell the house, and not only that, you can't sell it. If you did want to get it up to scratch, it's going to cost you a lot more money because they know that you need it done. That is the thing. But of course, if you're buying a property just before that and they haven't sorted anything out, well, you could have a good bargaining tool because you can haggle on the price, not only get the price down, but then you can haggle and tell them, hold on, proper certificate. And it ain't going to be no good to me because I've got to spend loads of money to get it up to scratch. But then you can have a winner-winner chicken dinner because you can get onto the local regional government and you can start claiming these subsidies they're giving you. You'll get most of the costs covered. Hope you found this video really helpful, and if you're not a channel member, you can become a channel member. You can watch all my videos before they go out to the public, support me for little €3 a month, or you can buy me a coffee below. If not, just subscribe and keep up to date with all the latest news and where we go all over Spain. And if you want to see more news, of course, you can check out the links just up there.